Okay, so that's enough about me and Exploratory, and let's get into the meat of this session. So again, Exploratory seminar number 22. I like to introduce Exploratory V version 5.4 new features. And in this release, we typically try to improve like all area of the Exploratory, but in this particular 5.4, we improve the data access, visualization, analytics, and communication. Not so much around the particular data wrangling area, but anyway, so and then these are the area I want to talk about today. And of course, there are a bunch of other minor improvements and bug fixes in many areas, including data wrangling as well. And those you can find in the release note. You can find that link in the same download page. But anyway, so these are the things that I want to talk about today. Okay. So let's start with Google Analytics. If you happen to be in a marketing or e-commerce field, like you typically like use Google Analytics to monitor your website, in Exploratory, you could access to Google Analytics data, and again, that is extracted data. However, the experience was really horrible, to be honest. So we basically we dumped that old one, and then we rebuild it from scratch. So this is a new UI, and then we try to make sure it's it provides a better experience in terms of like usability wise. So these are the 4 areas. Let's go one by one. Select dimensions and measures. So here, left hand side, you have the dimensions and metrics area. So all you need to do is select whatever the dimensions and metrics you're interested in. And then you click the run button, right hand side, you get that data from the Google Analytics cloud. And then you can search the dimension and measures by just typing it. And also, one of the problems is like you might not sure like which dimensions and metrics are selected. So you can click on this icon to show only the selected ones. If you have used a Google Analytics, you know there are like hundreds of dimensions and metrics. So this icon can be very useful. Now, I want to make sure like there's some chat message. I want to sure like I'm not missing anything here. Okay, looks like everyone can hear. Okay, good. All right. And also, when you move the mouse cursor on top of the metrics or the dimension, a particular one, then you can see the detailed information as well. And this is was limited before, but now like we changed it so that you don't have to create a bunch of connections. Like all you need to do is the first time you open this Google Analytics, then it will ask you to grant so that like it does the authentication. Once that's done, then after that, like you can switch accounts, you can switch property, you can switch views. It's just very easy compared to before. And it supports segment. No more writing weird tag for the segment. You can access the predefined segment and also your custom segment that you create in a Google Analytics UI. It all shows up in this drop-down list. And also we improve the period. So, typically like you might want to do like last 30 days, the last 6 weeks or something. But also you can just say, for example, like after this particular date. So let's say like you launch some services and then like like this is the date, like you want to see like what happens since then. Then you can type that date as well. Okay, so the Google Analytics. And then the super table, we call it super table, but this is it's just a table under the chart view. Not the table view. We have a summary view, table view, analytics view. But this table I'm talking about here is a table component under the chart view. So, and then like you can actually create the table like this. And it's obvious thing you can notice is the color formatting. But there's much more than that. So select columns, reorder columns, and configure each column. Those are 3 things I want to explain. first, you can select the columns. This is actually nothing new. Even you could do that in the order releases as well. But here, reorder columns, this is new. Now like you can change the orders. Before you had to do the data wrangling on the right-hand side step, but now inside the table configuration, you can reorder the columns. And then there's an edit icon in the preview area right next to the column header name, column names. And you can click on it and you can do a lot of different things. Here, first, you can change this column name, basically, this as a display name. And then you can also apply the functions based on the data type. If it's a numeric, you might have you might want to do convert it to integer. If it's a character, you might want to change the uppercase, lowercase type of things. If it's a date, then you might want to extract like a week, day or week information, or a month name information, or something like that. So you can apply those functions. And sorting. So sorting, you can preset the sorting so that like somebody opened this table, the data has been already sorted. But also like you can always interact with the table to resort that too. But this is kind of a pre-configuration for the sorting. And also there's a priority that you can set. So for example, in this example, right-hand side, if you want to sort this table by the age first, then you want to sort the salary by the salary. And you can set that as well. And also the number and the date format. You can do that like by column. So this case, like I'm just setting the currency symbol as dollars and then 2 digits. This is not to, I think the left-hand side screenshot and right-hand side sample is not matching. But if you set the 2 for the digit, then you should be seeing the 2 digit decimal digits in the preview as well. Okay. Then this particular thing is not new. You could, even before you could set up the URL, but we made it easier to do the configuration. Before like that menu was kind of hidden somewhere. So anyway, you can set that URL by using the column name. You use that like a $ and a curly bracket. Then like you can actually get that dynamic values based on the data. And it doesn't have to be just one column. You can combine 2 or 3 columns, or you can create, use the columns that are not presented in this particular table, but it has to be presented in the same step, but doesn't have to be displayed. And this is my most favorite and exciting stuff is the visual formatting. So there are a couple options. First, you can show the bars with a color on the background of the numeric values. So for example, this one is, these 3 columns showing the colors. You can set the color, and then sometimes you have like a positive and negative numbers. So you can assign that color as well. And also you might want to change the text or background color, and then you can change that. You can use a predefined color palette, and then you can set opacity and then set that as well. And this one is a condition. Sometimes some people call it conditional formatting. So you might want to apply, you might want to create multiple rules, let's say like greater than 10, less than 5, or something like that, and assign the color based on the condition. You can do that as well. So that's a super table. Then the next one is a chart area. And the chart, this is actually one of the most requested feature from our customers and users, which is that when you assign the color, then you have this like legend at the right-hand side of the chart. And then sometimes like you want to change those names. You could do that by doing a data wrangling. There's a, from the column header menu, you can select like changing, replace existing values to the new values or something like that. But sometimes you don't want to change the data itself. You might want to just do this particular chart. And then now you can do, go from the colors drop menu and then select edit display name. And then this will open the dialog like right-hand side. And then type the name. It's that simple. The cool thing about this though, it's not just changing the name, but if you give the same name, you see at the kind of bottom, there's a sales executive, sales representative. I give like a sales for both of them. And this will basically do the grouping. So like now you have like only one sales for those two used to be the independent categories. And then like you can quickly rename. Okay, then the others group, this is very interesting because sometimes when you assign the color, like something like the country, the country can have like 160 countries or 200 countries or whatever. Then you get the chart like this. And all you need to do, all you want to do is sometimes like, hey, like, I'm interested in just United States or Japan or particular countries. And then like you want to just combine everything else under the umbrella of others or something like that. Then, so in Exploratory, when you assign the column to the color or even like repeat by, the column with so many values, actually like more than 20 unique values, then you automatically set this thing called based on frequency option. So this frequency is based on the number of rows. So, if from the top, let's say like United States and then Japan, maybe have many rows in this data, then and then you can set like how many rows you want to actually, what are the top, you can set like top n. So let's say like I want to keep the top 10 countries and everything else to be under the others or something like that. So you can do that. So this is actually the default behavior, so that like at the default, you can get like kind of a decent chart, but you can change that. If you don't like it, you want to show all of them, you can select the none option. But so this has been there even before 5.4. What we have added is this thing called manually select to keep and drop. So sometimes you know which one to keep. You don't have to rely on based on the number of rows of frequency. Instead, like, hey, like I want to keep like Japan, United States, and then everything else to be others or something. And you can do that as well. So next is error bar. This one is becoming like more and more like my favorite chart type. If you have the statistics background or you're getting into the world of statistics and you actually like error bar a lot, so I'm not going to go into the detail of the error bar in this session, but we have enhanced this error bar in terms of usability. Functionality-wise, it's not so much difference. So what we did is like left-hand side, the control area, we expose this calculation type, marker, and also range type. These are used to be under the menu, like next to like y-axis or color in that area. But now like exposed as kind of a first class, so like you can actually switch between very easily. So if you want to change between a mean or means average or ratio, you can do that. And if you want to change the marker type from bar or a circle, you can actually do that from this UI. And then you can select the range types. Let's say that you might want to show 95% confidence in total, and you can actually do that as well. Okay. Then the analytics area, there's a couple of things. So for, I think there are more than a couple of things, but the key thing is a few things I want to mention. So effects by variables, this is in the field of data science, it's known as a dependency plot or dependence plot, or it depends who you talk to. What it is, it's actually pretty simple. When you build a model, either machine learning or statistical model, then like what you want to know is, of course, like when you're building a statistical model, you want to know the coefficient or like other statistical metrics. But also what you want to do is like what happened like when the value in the predictor variable change. So what happened to the target variable? In this example, x-axis is job level, because job level is as part of the predictor variable. In this case, actually, this is like simple linear regression. So like we have built a simple linear regression model to predict the monthly income based on the job level, right? And then this chart is telling you like when the job level change, how the monthly income change. And obviously you can see like it's kind of like a going up. So like the higher the job level, the higher the monthly income. And this can be even more useful when you have like multiple linear regression. So multiple predictor variables. And then for each variable, like you can see. And then so for this one, particular one, it's like you see like job level is very, like one job level up, then it gives like about like 5,000 salary up, or monthly income up. And then the total working years at the next to the job level, it's like at the bottom right. That seems like the line, the linear regression line is going up a little bit, but it's very slightly going up. And then when you see the gray line is actually the actual values, but this is the average based on like each point for each section or each data point. So, you know, it looks like around 20 years, the monthly income jumps. So it seems like there's something going on there. So probably it requires more analysis there. So if you see something like this, instead of like just seeing the coefficient, it gives you more insights in terms of like what you should need to do in terms of like analyzing this data further. So this is very convenient, and this view effects by variable has been there for decision tree or random forest, those like machine learning models, but we have added this view to the statistical model. And we have more enhancing this further in the next release as well. So please stay tuned. And also, this is actually, to me, is actually really useful, especially for logistic regression. Especially when I teach or when I explain to others who have no background in the statistics, like because logistic regression is kind of weird concept. I mean, like unless you know it well. So it's always hard to explain like, what it means, like the odds ratio, or even like marginal effect. Even like you're using marginal effect, like it's kind of hard to explain. But by using this dependency plot or effects by variables tab, it's now x-axis is a predictor variable, how the value in a predictor variable change. And y-axis, in this particular case, if this is a model to predict if the employee, a given employee will quit, leave the company or not. So it's called attrition. And the y-axis is actually the probability. So you can see, for example, job involvement is 1, then the probability of attrition is 0.3, which means 30%. And if the job involvement is 2, then the probability of attrition is about like 21% or 22%. So it gives you like how that the probability change, right? So this is much easier to than understanding the odds ratio. Although I'm not saying the odds ratio is not as important. Odds ratio is actually the much better way, but once you understand it. But this effects by variables gives you more intuitive understanding or start feeling what that is. And then also, when you have multiple predictor variables, and then it gives you more information. It's the same thing with a linear regression. And with this, we have slightly changed, even for random forest on decision tree. Used to be we show true and false, probability of true and probability of false as the different colors. But now we changed it to just to show the probability of true, and along with and actual values. In this particular case, the gray line is it's a ratio of each data point of the x-axis. And the C is a different sort of like a fitting between the model and actual value compared to linear and logistic. Those are like there's some parameters are static, and the machine learning model is more like flexible. So you can compare between the machine learning model and the statistical model by using these views, and they're much easier. And then next is diagnosis around the statistical model. And especially statistical model, this thing called multicollinearity is important. When you have the predictor variables, some of them are correlated or super correlated to one another, then what the problem is that coefficient information you're looking at under the coefficient view or even the coefficient table, those coefficients can start becoming unstable, which means it can be, let's say, like a 3, it can be 4, because at the end of the day, it will produce the same result when you have the, some of the predictor variables are super correlated. And sometimes happen is that you can actually even create a sort of like a mathematical formula, or not even mathematical formula, it's just like a one simple calculation of formula. And then, so let's say like your company is super, kind of like a, what do you call it, like a set company, and like your salary is decided based on number of the years you work, and it's not even like a pattern or a trend, it's just like a particular, there's a rule, business rule or something like that. Then if you have like a monthly income and job level as a predictors to predict, let's say like a attrition or something like that, then that will disturb your at the quality of your model. Anyway, long story short, now we have this collinearity tab, and under this you can see something called VIF. I've written the introduction to multicollinearity blog post, so I'm going to post that later as part of this session, online seminar page. So if you're interested, take a look at it. But just to summarize, when you see the VIF variable variance inflated factor, I think, is greater than 10, then you should start thinking some of the variables you have the multicollinearity problem. What you should do, well, like you should take one by one out from the predictor variable and see the how the result change. Okay, so next, this is minor, but in the coefficient tab, now you can see the base level. When you want to get the information for the categorical variable as a predictor, then you always need to make sure to know what the base level, because at the end of the day, like you're comparing two base level. So this is the difference between machine learning and statistical model. So this statistical model, it's important to know the base level. And then you don't have to go to the coefficient table or summary tab like before. With a new release, you can see the base level in the chart pop-up. And also two things. One is now you can remove outliers while you're building a model from the UI. It's much easier. And also another thing is you can use numeric function. Let's say you might want to apply log function, or you might want to apply normalize. You can do that for the target variable or for each predictor variable. Okay, so, and then last not least for the analytics is this is actually my favorite. It turned out this is much better than we thought it was. Which is showing this like a color bar, which seems like what we did for the super table. In fact, this table is actually using the super table behind the scene. Anyway, so why this is good? Because let's say like I build a linear regression model. And then like I'm using repeat by, in this case, a job role. So that means I'm creating a linear regression model for each job role, one for the research director, one for the human resource, and so on. But some of the job roles, this model might work. When I say the model, meaning for these predictor variables, and the relationship between this predictor variable and the target variable can explain better for the variance of monthly income, but maybe some of the job role might not. So that kind of information, like you might want to see like R square or adjusted R square. And then by having this like bars, it's much easier to see the difference, or like which one is better, which one is not. And also seeing those bars for every single column, then I can immediately see like a p-value, how the p-value doing, how the RMC doing. And also like even like something like a number of rows, I can just quickly understand it intuitively. So this bar shows up when you assign something for the job role. Okay. All right, so 2 more to go. And note, this is easy. We changed the format. So if you used to be using the older version, like 5.4 2 or 3 or before. We used to use a much bigger font and also serif font, but now we switched to sans serif font. So like it's and also like a little bit smaller size. So it's easier to read and you can have more information. So it's much easier. We personally think feel much easier writing experience. So anyway, so that's that. And last one, the data catalog. So this is something to do with data access. So data catalog, not many people actually have known this, but we have been updating this server-side area a lot over the last few months. One of the areas is this thing called data catalog. And I'm gonna do another seminar next week to introduce Exploratory data catalog, but this is kind of a quick summary. Basically, like you use Exploratory desktop and you prepare the data, and you can share with others by publishing that data to our server called Exploratory Cloud, or simply exploratory.io, just like our website. And then you can search or discover what are the data available. Some of the data like it can be you might want to share privately, or some of the data you might want to share publicly. And actually there are many data shared publicly on our page. Then you can actually access to them from the data frame menu directly inside Exploratory. Then you can get that, you can see this dialog, and then you can click on the open button to open the web page to see the detail, or you can click import button to import the data right away. And what's cool about this is once you import the data, sometimes the author of the data or the people who share the data might change the data or update the data or fix the data. Then all you need to do is just click on this refresh icon, and that will re-import that data. And I use this sometimes, like when I'm analyzing some of the data, like I want to bring, let's say, like a GDP information for the country or something. Then, like I want to go to data catalog, import GDP, join them with my, let's say, like sales data or something, and then like I can do the continue on this, the analysis. So this is actually pretty cool addition. But again, I'm going to do another session next week for more details. Okay, so enough for the slides. Let me show you just a quick example, like how those new features are. So first, I want to start with the Google Analytics. So access to it, like you can click on this plus button and then select the cloud apps, and then under that there's the Google Analytics. And then I'm going to click on this, and then like I get this new UI. And then you can switch the accounts if you have multiple. You can change the property or views and the segment and so on. And then like, I want to set a period. Let's say like last 10 days, or for example, after this particular day. And then I want to set, let's say maybe November 1st or something. So I want to see like all the data after this day. And then like I want to see, let's say maybe like a country. And then what else we have? Maybe the source, like where the users are coming from to our website. And then maybe the date information. And then something else, like what I want to see, like unique page view, like how many people viewing our page. So where is that? Page view here. And then maybe like a bounce rate or so on. So session, and then like you can select these types of things, and then like you see like what you have selected already. Then like you can click on this icon to see these are the 3 measures I selected, and also these are the 3 dimensions I selected. And then like I can click on this run button, and then this goes to the Google Analytics, and then extract that data. And then like, once I get this data, did I get that country information? Yes, country not set. Okay, got it. And then click on Save button, and then Google Analytics for seminar. And here's the summary view, and then nothing new, but I get that data from Google Analytics right away. And it's much easier experience, we think. And then from here, you go to the chart, and then let's see, like I want to see the line chart and then see the trend of the page views or something. So I'm going to assign a date and then go maybe like a day by day. Then y-axis to be unique page views. So this is the unique page view for the website. And then I want to assign a country to the color. And then this is what happens. So see here is like when I go to the summary view, the country has 110 countries. But under the chart, here on the right-hand side, legend area, like I have 20 countries and one other group. Because here, like I said before, Exploratory automatically uses based on frequency option so that like your chart never get too messy. But I want to change that to manually select to keep. And then I want to select to, let's say like a particular country. Let's say maybe I want to see like a Japan, traffic from the Japan or traffic from United States and everything else to be others. And then I can apply that and then see like a Japan, United States, others as well. And then I can see, compare those three things. So, and then another thing is the error bar. So for example, here I have, where is that? Maybe this, let's go with this guy. This is like employee data, human resource data. So each row is each employee and they have like information like age, gender, job role, and the distance from home, and so on. And one of the columns is also the monthly income, like how much they're getting paid. And now here, like I show, we have enhanced the error bar. So like I can go here and then see, like I want to see like by the job role, what's the monthly income difference. So here's the monthly income. And then I want to see, not monthly income, this is there's monthly average of monthly income for each job role, and then there's like a little bar at the top of the bar. This is called error bar. It's showing default is standard error, and I can change that to let's say 95 with confidence interval, and then I can change that to, for example, let's say like if I want to see the ratio, I can change that to let's say like a number of rows. And then now like what I'm looking is a ratio of the number of employees in each job role. And I can change that to, for example, like a circle as well. Okay, and then this is actually cool. Like I'm getting a little off from the script. Is that when you have, let's say, monthly income here, and then like basically I'm looking at like a monthly income average and a difference. So like managers, they're making a lot of money compared to laboratory technicians and so on. And if I said like, for example, is there any difference among the genders? So between the male and female, and then I can assign gender to the color. And then like I can see, for example, laboratory technicians or some human resource, seems like there might be something different, but it's almost like with the 95% confidence interval, there are a lot of overlapping. But like something like a research director, there's slight overlapping, but you can see there are some differences compared to, more significant differences compared to other job roles. So this is a kind of easier way to start kind of analyzing even before you go to like a t-test or linear regressions and so on. Okay, so that's enough. And then, oh yeah, one more thing is, let's say when you have the, let's here, what is, oh yeah. So let's say like, I'm gonna assign a monthly income to x-axis. This one, it was a feature introduced in 5.3. Numeric column automatically gets categorized into like a group, in this case from like 1,000 to 5,000, 5,000 to 8,000 and so on. And you can change that how you want to cut those numbers or categorize those numeric values. But I'm going to continue on this one. Then if I assign the job role to the color, now what I'm looking at for each, how many of each job role employee in each sort of like a bucket of the salary or like a monthly income. So here, like these people, like manager people and research directors, they're making a lot of money. And then like here is like green laboratory technicians. They're mostly in this like a lower bucket of monthly income. But here, like if I want to change that, like I shown in the slides, if I want to change some of these names, it's like a healthcare representative. That's too long. I want to change that, and then I want to change the sales executive, sales representative to be called sales. Then all I need to do is go to the color, edit display name, and then from here, maybe let's say like I'm going to change that just healthcare rep, and then the sales executive to be just sales. Oops, and then you can use the tab key to move between. And then click OK, and then right-hand side already changed. So this reflects the bar as well. So like salespeople are this in a gray color. This includes the sales representative and the sales executives together. We have added this like edit display name to the color first in this 5.4, but next release 5.5 we are planning to release in January. That will have this edit display for the even x-axis or repeat by. And when you have the bubble or like a scatter chart and even y-axis as well. So this feature is coming more strong, more valuable down the road as well. But we start from this column, okay. Okay. So, sorry. And then one more last demo is the analytics. So here, I'm gonna, let's say, build, let's say like a linear regression model or something. And then same thing, I'm using employee data, and then I wanna build a model to predict or explain the variance in monthly income. So I wanna say like monthly income for the target variable, and under the predictor variable, let's say like I'm gonna select most of the stuff. So just using a shift key, select all the columns are the predictor variables, and click OK, and then build a model to see like which variables are more correlated to monthly income. And I get this coefficient, and then that's first, if I see like here, the job role manager, this is a categorical as opposed to numerical. So I need to compare with sales executive. So like job level manager compared to sales executive, the $4,123 higher for the monthly income. And I can see this information now. But and then when you go to collinearity, this is where you can diagnose multicollinearity. And then you see the VIF variance inflation factor is 423, which is super high. And the suggested criteria value is like 10. So it seems like something going on between the job role and also like the department. And then, you know, like if you know the employee organization, and you can guess probably the job role departments, maybe some kind of like relationship there. If I go to the chart, if I have created here. So this is the x-axis job role, and the color is the department. Then you can see almost like one-on-one relationship, except the manager. So that means when you know the job role, you know the department. You know the department, you know the job role. So these two are highly associated. So probably that's why these two are scoring the high variance inflation factor value. By the way, this VIF is, think of it as kind of like the result of the transform R square, if you know R square. But anyway, so I'm gonna remove, let's say with job role, for example, and then click OK, and then click Run, and see like what this chart is gonna tell me. And then now it seems like there are no variables that are associated or correlated with one another too highly. So I can get that. Seems like all of them are less than 10. it's not like this 10 is like a magical number, but as a guidance. But nonetheless, seems like it's okay. So now let's go to the coefficients and then try to understand this information. Or you can go to the importance tab to see like, okay, it looks like a job level is the most correlated to the monthly income compared to others. And the next one, the total working years and the age. And I can continue on this analysis more comfortably. And then here, effects by variables. And this is where you can see what happened like when the particular variable's value change, what happened to the monthly income. So that's, for example, job level 1, 2, 3, 4. Seems like this job level and monthly income is like a super highly correlated. There gotta be, some kind of business rule. But nonetheless, you can see those results as well. Okay. So that's it for the demo. And there's one more thing today. We still have like 10 minutes. So I want to introduce another thing, what we have been working on over the last 3 months and continue to enhance this area, which is a collaboration server. And at the same time, we released Desktop 5.4. We also released Collaboration Server 5.4. And the Collaboration Server is basically like when you use create insights or you produce the data, and then you can publish those to share and schedule and interact. And then collaborate. And you can actually do that to our cloud server, Exploratory.io, which is you can start free for free. And there's a data size limit there, but you can try it even today. But sometimes some organization doesn't allow employees or like you're not comfortable exposing the data to outside your firewall or something. So in that case, basically clone of our Exploratory.io server you can deploy to your Linux box or AWS, GCP, and so on. So that's the collaboration server. And collaboration server has 2 things basically. One is a data catalog, another one is insight catalog. Data catalog is where you can publish and share your data schedule. And insight is like insight catalog is where you can publish a dashboard, note, slides, and a chart, and so on. And then basically do the same thing: schedule, share, and then interact with. So typically, the workflow of the insight and data management with the collaboration server kind of goes like this. Start with data, and then you want to create insights. By using a node, you can create a rich node for communicate your story around the insights. And then you can create data, and in the Exploratory, you can use OUI to transform, clean the data. And then once that's done, then you can publish. So let's say like you might want to publish the dashboard so that you can schedule the server, you can share with others. And then once it's published, you can share with a particular person, or you can share with a URL and so on. And then how are you going to find those dashboards or data? Well, like you go to the Exploratory.io today, you see the insights at the toolbar. Under the insights, there's a menu called Find Insights or Data Catalog. And then you get this view. And then, or if you want to see all the insights you publish or somebody shared with you, then you go click on your kind of like a profile icon, right-hand side top, and then under that, like you see My Insights. And then like you see all the insights that you have access to, including the public ones as well. And then this page, you can search in a different ways. You can type like a keyword, you can type the tag, you can change the scope, which is like owned by you or shared with you or so on, or liked by you. And then like, you can set the date range and so on. And then you can also click on the author or tag to list all the related insights and data. And then like you can open the dashboard page at the server, or you might want to interact with the dashboard when you create the parameters in the desktop. Then the parameter gets published along with the dashboard or other insights as well. Then you can interact. this parameter is pretty cool because it actually initiates our instance at the server. So therefore, not just filtering the data, you can actually override the calculation. You can even update the SQL queries to extract the data from the data source. So the parameter is very powerful. But anyway, so your people you share with be able to interact with your dashboard and notes and charts and so on. Okay, and then you might want to see the notes, you might want to see the slides at the server. And data catalog side, the one that I was talking about, you click on the data and you see all the data have been published at our website or at the collaboration server. And then this is where like we also enhanced a lot. It has 3 views. It used to have only table view, but we added a summary view. So it looks like the same thing you'd see in the desktop. Now you can see that at the published data at the server. And the table view, we also changed the table to have kind of a filtering experience. So like you can just type down for each column or at the whole table level, and you quickly search the data. And also click on column header to sort, and then that will show those bars based on the values. Okay, and then metadata tab. Sorry, this is Japanese. I got a good. I didn't have the good English example, so like I just put it up in this one. But anyway, under the metadata, you can actually directly edit this at the server UI. By the way, if it's your data, then you see the edit button at the right-hand side top. Anyway, so you can type the description. You can use a markdown to give it a rich format, and also you can define. You can use a data dictionary, so you can add the description for each column. So this is pretty powerful when you share the data, so that like other people usually don't know what this data about. So you want to give this information as well. Okay, then you can schedule so your data or like your insights are pointing the data that is remote that can be accessed from the server. Then you can schedule